It's showtime. Okay, Sunday night. It's January 11th. Thank you guys so much for being patient. I was actually having dinner with my daughter and her boyfriend before they go back to college. So I was having a lovely evening, and I'm excited though today. So apparently, I completely forgot. I was supposed to have Ken on the show. We're going to do that next week, and I'm going to do one more week of detox. Well, it won't be the last, but I'm going to dive a little deeper into it today, and then Ken and I will come to you next Sunday, and we'll get a little bit deeper into detox. It's all about the biology, and yeah, we're gonna get a lot more granular on that. So welcome in. I want to welcome everybody for being here. Make sure I am streaming from It's All About the Biology, Dr. Paula Ruffin on YouTube. So if you are on one, please jump over to the other and give it a subscribe. And then of course, anywhere you're tuning in on Facebook would be wonderful. If you would like, share, please leave a nice comment. That helps others to see the show and see what we're doing. So, okay. So we're doing detox again. And the reason is because it's just so hard to really nail down detox. I mean, I can summarize it for you guys as I attempt to do each week, but there's so much when it comes to detox. And I have a research paper here, and I'm going to read a couple of things through. I'm going to read through this a little bit, read you a couple of the high points, and then I have some other notes that we're going to get into because the reason I titled it "The Truth About Detoxing" is because last week we also talked about water fasting, and then people have asked me about alkaline water. There's hydrogen water. There's phase 4 water or deuterium water. So there's all these different waters, and the truth is that you're going to find out is that when it comes to detoxing, people often want to say that one thing is a detox. That one thing is the be all end all. I had a woman tell me one time to put 2 drops of essential oils. She was from an essential oil company, 2 drops in water every day to detoxify your liver. And I was like, that's healthy to do, but it's not a detoxifier. It's an alkalizer, but it's not a detoxifier. So people use this word detox very freely, and it's frankly, it's just not the correct information. So all right, so let's go ahead and get into it. And actually, I think before I do that, let me bring up my show notes. All right. Okay, so I'm going to read my show notes through at the beginning here, and then you guys can just drop your questions. So this is the time of year when people are talking about detox. We've spent the last 3 months, October, November, December, eating sugar, and then just eating all kinds of overindulgent things, drinking too much alcohol. Then we get into January, and January is dry January. And what this signifies to me is that we just need to start thinking about healthy relationships around all the things. And if you decide you're going to eliminate alcohol, that's great. But did you do that because you were so overly indulgent for 3 solid months? If that's the case, that's a problem. That's a problem. So when we do detox with the doc, it's 10 days no alcohol. So alcohol gets eliminated, caffeine gets eliminated, gluten gets eliminated, dairy. So it is an elimination diet. It's helpful because we have this overindulgent, hyper-processed foods. So it does help us to slow down. It does help us to pay attention. So in all of that, regardless of what you decide is good for you as far as eliminating, start to look at what are your behaviors around certain things. And so for this program, when we start eliminating sugars, for example, that's when people will often say, oh my God, I'm a carboholic. I'm addicted to sugar. And so then you have to start saying to yourself, you don't have healthy relationships around that. So what do you need to do? And sometimes it's just a complete elimination, which is going to be more beneficial for you. So, let's go back over the show notes because I wanted to give a little bit more of an intro there. All right. So alkaline water, the title of tonight, alkaline water, juice cleanses, water fasting, and detox myths. Why metabolism matters more than marketing. That's the title on my notes, not the title on the show, but you get the idea. So if alkaline water, juice cleanses, and water fasts and weight loss shots worked the way social media promises, we wouldn't see the levels of fatigue, hormone chaos, gut issues, brain fog, and chronic disease that we do today. In fact, we're getting sicker. Tonight's conversation is really about cutting through the noise of all of that and coming back to basic physiology, because marketing is powerful. Marketing is very strong. And so I want each and every person who hears this to understand what's the real thing? What's the truth? Let's cut through the noise, cut through the chaos, cut through the marketing, and get you guys the truth about what is good and healthy for you so that you can be doing the right things and feel good about doing the right things. So we just want to move away from this whole like chasing trends. And when we stop chasing trends, we can start supporting the body the way it's actually supposed to be supported. So support the body so that it can do the work that it needs to do. All right. So the big idea is the body is a conversion machine. What you eat or drink matters, but beyond what you eat or drink, it really only creates health if the body has the foundational capacity to digest, absorb, convert, and then eliminate the nutrients and the toxins. So you can put healthy things in, but if digestion, your liver pathways, your minerals, hormones, or mitochondria are compromised, the outcome is still going to be very dysfunctional. You won't be getting the full value of what you're putting in when it's the healthy stuff. So that's the first part of it. And I want to come back and just check what Lily's saying here. So Lily says, I remember talking to a European who commented on how we on this side of the pond take better care of our vehicles than we do ourselves. He said that they detox deeply quarterly, every seasonal change. And that makes sense. That makes so much sense. Like our bodies, like we clean out our closets, we change the oil in our car. So why are we not taking care of our bodies and cleaning out our bodies the way that they need to? So, okay. Thanks for that comment, Lily. That's really spot on. All right, hold on. Let me get over here. Back to my notes. So let's talk about. I'm gonna go into this article a little bit, and then I'll go back to my notes. But in this article, this is a research review, the role of detoxification in the maintenance of health. Now, this is why I've been saying is that juice cleanses, many of these cleanses, like, I don't know if you guys have heard of the master cleanse. That's lemon juice, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper, I think. The reason these things are not healthy for us is you're going to find out is they don't support the foundational needs of the body. And so in this review, and I just have some things highlighted. So the National Cancer Institute defines toxin as a poisonous compound made by bacteria, plants, and animals. It defines toxicant as poison made by humans or that is put into the environment by human activities. So we have toxins, and toxicants. And toxins are defined by plants, animals, bacteria, just to reiterate that. And then toxicants are what we do. It's the poisons we create. So the exposure to the environmental toxins has been associated with things such as cancer, neurodegenerative disorders, and other health ailments characterized by fatigue, muscle weakness, cognitive dysfunction, and the human body will generate toxins referred to as endogenous as part of normal daily function. So it's going to generate toxins from body processes and then eliminate them. That's normal. But when we get gunked up, when we have too much coming in, it creates a traffic jam. So this is also where we've talked about phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 of detoxification. Phase 1 and 2 happens in the liver. Phase 3 is the kidneys. Phase 1 is very fast, and phase 2 is very slow. So just to recap that, and I'll keep saying that. If you just think about this, just the simplest way to help you understand how detox works. So the detoxification system, phase 1, 2, and 3, is highly dependent on nutrient support for optimal function. So don't forget this, okay? So we're going to come back to this. So these 3 phases, the most critical phases of detoxification, require nutrient support in order to function properly, okay? You're not getting that in a juice cleanse, all right? So let's see, a growing number of literature suggests an association between toxicant, so that's the man-made stuff, exposure, and the etiology of a number of chronic conditions such as chronic fatigue, multiple chemical sensitivities, fibromyalgia, atherosclerosis. Other people report debilitating fatigue, myalgias, arthralgias, cognitive dysfunction. And these are all very, very like the most common complaints that people have. So, oh yeah.
How much?
Hang on. It's right. Turn it. Cut it right there. See the line?
Yeah,
There you go.
okay.
Thank you. She's feeding the dog. He's ready to have dinner. Okay. Exposure to environmental toxicants can occur from air pollution, food supply, drinking water, in addition to skin contact. So that's your body care products, your laundry detergent, your dryer sheets. And these things have been linked to Parkinson's disease, and also prolonged exposure to pesticides through farming and drinking water can also be a contributor. So the mechanisms of these toxic exposures are not necessarily known. An individual's ability to, and what that means is that they don't know necessarily how they get processed in the body. Like it can cause a disarray of health issues for so many people. No one person's exposure is the same. No one person's expression of exposure is the same as another's. So our ability to excrete these toxins, this is what's been shown to be the major factor in disease susceptibility. So these are key findings in this, is that it's the basics. We get overridden with toxins. Our bodies require nutritional support. And if we don't eliminate them, they're going to lend themselves to chronic disease. So where do these things come from? So we have pesticides, and most pesticides are toxic to humans. If you're using Roundup, you can't use Roundup. You can't use, pesticides, lawn herbicides, like, people who spray their lawns. And we have a beautiful lawn. It's full of dandelions and violets and all kinds of fun stuff. In fact, I have so many wild edible plants in my lawn, which is pretty cool. So when you start to kill off all of that stuff, you're killing off the biodiversity, which is also related to your biodiversity of your gut. So we also have endocrine disruptors, which can cause malformation of sex organs. It can cause sterility. We have toxic metals in our air. A lot of the pollutants come from heavy metals in the air, anything that they're spraying in the skies. Lead, mercury, cadmium, arsenic. Other toxic metals are ubiquitous in the environment and often have delayed effects because they accumulate in the body. For example, lead can be sequestered to bones, replacing calcium, and it has a half-life of 62 years. So if you have lead poisoning, that's rough. That's hard to get out. That's a very specific type of a detox. Lead toxicity includes DNA damage, depressed immune system function, anemia, hypertension, kidney disease, and increased tooth decay. Food additives, preservatives, and drugs. The greatest toxin exposure is by far from the intake of foods, drugs, and water containing toxic substance that can be absorbed into the GI tract. So you can see they're coming from everywhere, and it's just a complete disruption of our human microbiology. So, hey, Howie from Food Forest, good to see you, my friend. Happy New Year. How have you been? Great to see you in here. Ghetto Hippie, thanks for stopping in. Ghetto Hippie wants to know what kind of dog food we use. It's kind of a raw dog food. I forget what the name of it is.
It is
he says, what type? What is it? Vital.
Fresh Pet Vital Clean Nutrition.
Fresh Pet Vital Clean Nutrition. So he likes it. Ghetto Hippie wants to know what type of steak the dog gets. We had steaks for dinner tonight. Yeah. Yes, Lily, the master cleanse is lemons, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper and water. We're not doing that. We are not doing that. Hi, Grumpy D8M. Nice to see you in here. Lily says, makes sense. Your body doesn't need to be starved of nutrients and put through a detox. And you are asking for trouble because it's stressful. It's very stressful. Lily says your skin is the largest organ and it will absorb what you put on it to some degree. It is also the largest detoxifying organ, more than the liver. But that's where the elimination piece comes from. The liver is your conversion organ. So it helps convert things so we can eliminate them. So yeah, your skin is an organ and it's breathing, and you can put a chemical on your skin and within 30 seconds, it'll show up in the blood. Tissues, toilet paper can have hormone disruptors. Yeah, I did a video on toilet paper couple years ago, I think, because it has PFAS in it. It's got all those forever chemicals. So, and thank you so much, Howie. It's so good to see you. You have been on my mind lately. Actually, it's so fun that you popped in here. So nice to see you so much. Mary Lou Lopez. Hey, Mary Lou. Happy Sunday, my dear. Mary Lou's doing the detox with us. Also, if at any point in time during this live stream, if you decide you want to do detox with the doc, the link to join is in the show notes, and I'll talk about what that's going to be. But you can click the link, read about it. You can pay through there, and then it's going to be great. It'll be 10 days guided by me. I'm doing it along with you. So once you sign up, you'll get a 30% off coupon to order your detox kit. So okay. So when we remove toxins from the body, we have to convert our fat-soluble toxins to water-soluble molecules. This is phase 1, phase 2. So phase 1 is what breaks it down, and then phase 2 is what puts the water molecule on it so it can safely get to phase 3, which is our kidney. And so if we don't have the proper metabolites in each phase, then that's where the breakdown occurs. So again, phase 1, fast, phase 2, slow. There needs to be specific nutrients within those phases in order to make sure that that phase 2 gets raised. So we want the speed of phase 2 to speed up. So let me go back into my notes here. So when we talk about the waters, so we have all these different waters that people are talking about. It's kind of, I don't know if it's on you guys' feeds. Maybe it's because it's things that I'm looking into, and so it shows up all over my feed. So I had somebody who's done my detox a couple years in a row now, and she had said to me she was doing a different kind of detox. I asked her what it was, and she's doing this hydrogen water detox. And I said, oh, I'm curious, like, would it go along with what I'm doing? So she sent me in the information. I started to look into it. It's certainly very beneficial, hydrogen water, but it's not a detox. It doesn't activate the liver detox pathways. So it's great at reducing oxidative stress, but it's not great at helping those liver pathways to function the way they need to. Structured water, that's another one that's been coming across. In fact, I had, maybe about 3 years ago, I had interviewed a dentist on the show, and he was talking about deuterium water, which I think is also structured water. I can't remember exactly. And I think a lot of people call it phase 4 water. Well, this is the water inside your cells. And so as I looked into it, I was like, drinking phase 4 water or structured water doesn't make it better. Like, the water inside your cells is that way for a reason. And so just because you drink the type of water that's in the cells doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get more into the cells. Getting things into the cells is a nutrient issue. It's a cellular health issue. It's a mitochondrial issue. And so, and I'll talk about alkaline water here, and then I'm going to talk about that nutrient piece. So alkaline water, you guys have probably all heard the alkaline water craze. It's not as big. I haven't seen it around as much, but you go into the stores, if you decide to buy a bottle of water and there's all this alkaline water there, they're still selling it. The pH of alkaline water runs anywhere from 8 to 9.5. And so people have heard over the years, eat an alkaline diet. And so they think they see something that's alkaline and they go, oh, that must be good for me. But what we need to be looking at is eating foods that form alkalinity in the body. This is very much like structured water. If you drink structured water, does that necessarily mean that it's better for your cells? So you can't just drink alkaline water and think that it's going to create alkalinity in your body. In fact, what it does is it impairs your digestion because it raises the pH in the stomach when we need more of an acidic environment to break down our food. So alkaline water could actually be preventing you from breaking down your nutrients the way you need to, especially proteins. So I don't condone alkaline water at all. In fact, I did a video on alkaline water as well. I think that was maybe a year and a half ago or so. I think it's ridiculous. I think you're paying, if paying for bottled water wasn't bad enough, alkaline water is even more expensive. So here's why. When we look at this alkaline acid balance, now the human body is very tightly regulated metabolically. So between an acid alkaline balance, acid environment does create more disease, but it's still a very tight regulation of acid and alkaline. But so having a more acidic environment does create more disease. However, it's again, you're eating inflammatory foods, you're drinking a lot of sodas, you're smoking, you're not eating any vegetables, you have no fiber, and that pushes that fine line more towards the acid, and that's where disease is then allowed to start to take root. Eating an alkaline diet, so let's say broccoli is definitely more alkaline than soda, but if you eat broccoli, what happens is the way it metabolizes moves you in towards that alkaline state. If you have lemon, so this is where the whole alkaline water, this is where this gets weirded out, is that if you have lemon, let's say lemons or limes, and people are like, well, that's acidic and it's going to ruin your teeth and all that. Those acids, they actually convert to alkalinity in the body. So that's why, so you have to start thinking, what's the end product of the metabolic breakdown after you eat something? And so the foods you eat should have a downstream metabolic positive effect, not a metabolic negative effect. Thanks for that gold bar on that, Ken. Yes, because it's all about the biology. And so again, people think, oh, acid bad or alkaline good? Not necessarily. So we need to really start thinking about these downstream effects. So let me go back to my notes. We talked about the body being a conversion machine. So we need to really be able to digest, absorb, convert, and eliminate these things. And then we want what we eat to be converting into the things that are going to fuel our body. So we need to be mindful of our metabolic acid load, our mineral balance, our kidney buffering capacity. These are all things that are going to be part of our detoxing system. So we talked about the lemon example, and it's not necessarily the pH of the food or drink. I mean, it kind of is, but I just gave you a couple examples, but it's really what remains afterwards. How does that thing go into the body? And then what happens to it on the other side? So then, I thought, well, we got to talk about water intake and digestion, because even if you drink regular water, regular water is a 7. We need somewhere between 1.5 and 3 on the pH scale. So our acid levels in the stomach need to be 1.5 to 3 in order for us to have good digestion. So if we drink even just regular water at a 7 on the pH scale, that can interfere with digestion. So think about this. If you drink large amounts of water during a meal, you can dilute your stomach acid, but a healthy stomach is going to compensate. A stressed or a nutrient depleted stomach, this is typically where your digestive system will start to let you know. And so hydration works best if it's between meals, and then, sipping water during meals is fine, but just not in excess. But if you have too much water, you can get excessive bloating, you can get poor digestion, you can get burping and some reflux. And so we're trying to minimize all of that. So water doesn't necessarily cause digestive problems, it actually reveals them. And we have to pay attention. What are the signals your body's giving you? Pay attention to that. Okay, so before we go into juice cleanses, let's see what we got for comments here. So yes, great to see you too, Grumpy. I appreciate you being here. Dr. Lee be alone. Dr. Lee be alone. Okay, all aboard the train. Well, thanks for being here. I may not be able to pronounce your name, but I appreciate you being here. Howie says, I'm mostly home till spring, been very busy, cleansing every day and doing a keto diet, and seems to work for me. RO water and spring water as soon as I wake up. I'm so happy you're feeling well, and you've done such great things for your health. Howie had to really do some transforming, and he's done a wonderful job. So you're a really great example of what it means to turn your health around. And as far as water, right when you wake up, I always recommend that. So these are my water glasses. I think that's probably 16 ounces. And I will drink one of those within the first 15 to 20 minutes that I'm awake. Hydrating, we wake up, we tend to be dehydrated because we haven't had any water. We hadn't had any fluid for many, many hours. So I love the idea of getting up and getting oh my God, I got to sneeze. I have a new computer, so don't know where the mute button was, or I would have muted that. Sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, drinking a large amount of water. And you have to, I know I've had conversations about this with my patients, and like, I just don't think about it. So you got to have a trigger. You have to have a visual. And so maybe this glass sits in your bathroom. I go to bed with water. I have a glass of water by my nightstand. I get up, I immediately fill it with ice. I know there's a lot of things out there that say don't drink ice water. I've been drinking ice water since I was a kid. I can't drink it any other way. It like does weird things to my throat. So I'm getting hydrated. So I always recommend at least 12 to 16 ounces in the morning, right when you get up. So thanks for that comment, Howie. And let's see, free coffee. Who doesn't love a good coffee? Mary Lou says, what about reverse osmosis water? It's the same thing. It's similar in the sense that, number one, it's not a detox. I like reverse osmosis because it's as clean as it gets. However, if you are drinking reverse osmosis water, you have to really be mindful and increase your mineral intake and your nutrient intake, because it's clean water, if you will, and water is a binder. And so when you remove all of you remove all the minerals. So let's say just in regular water, tap water, say, there's magnesium, there's calcium, there's phosphorus, there's all these other minerals in there that bind to the water. So reverse osmosis strips those away. And so what the water does when you drink it is it's going to want to bind those in the body and take them with it. So you always want to be supplementing if you're drinking reverse osmosis water, and you have to supplement extra, because if you are drinking the amount of water you should drink, you're going to need a lot of minerals. And Grumpy, this is a great reminder. Sea salt in the body will uptake water efficiently. So reverse osmosis, you can put a little sprinkle of sea salt in there, and that's good, but it's also not complete. You still got to take something with that. So free coffee, Dr. Paula, free coffee. What's the free coffee? I'm missing out. Does somebody want to send me free coffee? I'm all about it. My espresso machine broke and I had to send it back to Breville, but they fixed it for free and it came back today. So I had a lovely, very strong shot of espresso this morning. Thank you so much, Howie. I always appreciate you being here, and you always have such great input too. Charlie Rose, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you being here, and you are welcome for the information. Lily says, when I have lemon in cold water, I use a straw to protect my teeth. If I have it in warm water, I'll rinse after. Well, that's why I have to drink from a straw, so my teeth don't get cold, and I can drink all the water I want. So I did good. Okay. Thank you so much. Hey, Ken, how are you? Nice to see you in here. Ken's doing the detox with us. I'll have all your information to you in a couple of days. So I did pronounce it right. Good. Dr. Lee B. Alone. Okay, perfect. What kind of doctor are you? I'm curious. Thanks for being here. You're coming down with a cold. So many people getting sniffles and sinus infections and all that other stuff. They're here in the States, they're saying that your flu shot won't do anything for the current flu, but they're recommending you go get it anyway. Sure. I'll line right up for that one. Okay. Yes. Mary Lou always has great questions. Okay. Howie says, dry aging my free range beef and growing my lion's mane. I would love to grow some lion's mane. I grew shiitakes and oysters a few years ago. I attempted to grow wine caps and they did not grow. But yeah, I would like to get back into growing mushrooms. It's such a delicacy. So I think I will be, I think I got to look into the lion's mane. So ghetto hippie. So Dr. Lee B. Alone is a mechanical doctor. Okay. Sounds like a chiropractor. I don't know. Do I know you? Are you a friend and you're just messing with me now? Anyway. Okay. Let me go back to my notes. All right. I like to take these little breaks just to make sure I don't get too behind on our notes. So going back to the juice cleanses. So you can't just do a water cleanse. You can't just do a juice cleanse, because we have already shown in the research that we need nutrients to support phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. And juice cleanses will spike your blood sugar. They don't have protein, which is required for liver detox. They don't have the fiber, which helps with detox elimination. It suppresses bile flow. And then I also mentioned that if you're doing the green juices, now you're going to push your oxalates, which are those little tiny crystals. And if you don't have the cofactors in your body, if you're deficient in cofactors like calcium, magnesium, potassium, zinc, like most people are, you're not going to be able to bind them and poop them out. So you absorb the oxalates and you get migraine headaches and you get severe joint pain and you could get severe rashing and you could feel like you have the flu. And many people who've had oxalate toxicity thought they had Lyme disease. So oxalates are not, and you can have a very mild too. Again, people who have like, chronic headaches, not even migraines, but just low grade headaches every day, poor quality sleep, oxalates will jack you up. So I just don't recommend juice cleanses. I love a good pressed juice. I buy them occasionally. They're tasty, they're refreshing. If I just came from hot yoga and I sweated a whole bunch of stuff out, I love a good juice. But other than that, I'm not drinking them on the regular. They're just too high in sugar. And I would just rather have the apple or the orange. So it might feel clean if you do a detox, but you're eliminating food, you're eliminating crappy food you eat. So you probably will feel a little bit better, but you're not supporting that phase 2 of liver detoxification. So you just don't have the amino acids, the minerals, and you need sulfur compounds as well. And so that's why you're just not getting that nutrient foundation. So, all right. So now we're going to talk about water fasting and autophagy, because we mentioned water fasting a little bit last week. And autophagy is real. So what is autophagy? What that means is that your body is starting to clean up shop. So cells die, metabolic processes happen, you get all of these metabolic waste products, and we need that breakdown in order to turn cells over, in order to get the body to heal. And so we're constantly turning over these cells. And so autophagy is happening all the time anyway. But what happens is when you do a fast, so a water fast, so let's just say it's a 24-hour fast. Studies show that if you can fast between 12 and 18 hours, that's really when you start to get like optimal autophagy. It's right about that 16-hour mark. But you could benefit from a 12-hour fast as well. Now, if you're fasting longer than 18 hours, what can happen in these multi-day fasts, when people go into these multi-day water fasts, this is where we can risk losing lean tissue, so losing muscle mass. You could get electrolyte imbalance. Now, some people would do some people do water fast, just straight water fast. Some people they might just do the juices. They might do bone broth for 7 days. But still, you can still end up having lean tissue loss, electrolyte imbalance, hormonal stress, because you're stressing the liver. You're not giving it the nutrients, the foundational nutrients it needs. So think about it this way. You're going into autophagy. Your body is cleaning up all these waste products that's got to go through the liver to detoxify, to get out. So you've got the front end, you're doing okay on the front end, but then on the back end, you're not supporting the liver to get rid of all these byproducts. So you can actually get a reduced capacity for detoxification. And, some people, when they do these long fasts, they start to feel like they get the flu, or, they could get more fatigue. And, and that's just a sign to, you got to respect your body. So I know I had attempted a 24-hour fast. Now I worked my way up to that. So I never just recommend, I'm just going to not eat. What a great way to lose weight. I'm just going to not eat. And the first time I did 24-hour fast, I don't do them often. But the first time I did it, I got heart palpitations. I felt very lightheaded. I got anxious. So again, you've got to, just because somebody's doing it and they say it's great on social media, doesn't mean it's right for you. And this is really about filtering out everything you see on social media is not good for everybody. some things are good for some people, and you've got to be able to figure out what's good for you. If something seems very extreme, I usually just suggest avoiding it. It can be too intense. If you haven't laid the groundwork just in movement and breath work and clean eating and increasing your hydration and improving your sleep, if you haven't laid that foundation first, there is no amount of cold plunging. There's no amount of fasting. Like that, you just have to pay attention to the foundational things, and then you can layer things in after that. But you really got to pay attention to what your body needs. Let's see. Howie says, thank you, silly, but for some reason I'm unable to see you in the chat. My very best to you and Ken. And well, let's see. Howie, you might be coming in from, if you're coming in from my channel, or are you coming in from It's All About the Biology? I think it depends on what channel you're coming in. And Howie, she is on It's All, oh, there you go. Oh, Howie's on mine. Okay. That's what I figured. Okay. Thanks for that, Ken. Appreciate that. And Howie says, help your liver and gets lots of sleep, less stress, and sauna every day. Yeah. Hot sauna, flush that stuff out. Again, getting it out through the skin, very, very important. Sweating, so healthy for you. NAC, N-acetylcysteine, provides sulfur for the liver. Yes, so the products that I use have NAC in it because they're, we really need these sulfur-based compounds to help improve that phase 2. Ghetto Hippie says, studies indicate that human growth hormone levels increase during fasting to maintain lean tissue muscle mass. Right. So there's a variable amount of information, and what's the timing on that? So is it at that 16-hour mark, or is it the 3-day mark? I really haven't found much that says like a 3-day fast or a 7-day fast. I haven't found much that shows much benefit. Usually it's somewhere between that 12 and 18-hour, up to 24, but I haven't found anything that actually supports much longer than 24. So let's see. Silly Lily says, detoxing without guidance can have you experience a healing crisis. That's 100% true. That's why we do a 10-day detox with the doc, because I want to make sure, I want to hold your hand. I want to get you the right information. That's why I'm showing up here. So even if you are out there and you're hearing things and you're like, and you could do the detox self-guided. If you wanted to do a detox self-guided, it's 20% off my online store right now, site-wide. I can tell you what to order. You'd get 20%. If you're joining the group, you're going to get 30%. But the bottom line is you could do it by yourself because it is laid out very well in the booklet. But if you've never done a detox, it's really nice to have a community. It's really nice to be led along with that. So that's why a lot of people love it, at least for the first time, to do the 10 days with me. And Ghetto Hippie says, sounds like you were having withdrawal symptoms. Yeah, maybe I was having some sort of metabolic crisis. I don't necessarily know what it was. So, and again, I had worked my way up to it. I commonly do 12 to 16. Often I do 18. And like tonight, I finished eating at, right about 6. And so I probably won't have a shake until, probably 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I don't know, what's that math? 6 to 12. So 18, 19 hours. So yeah, you kind of, and that's fine. I can handle that, but I do much longer than that. My body just is like, yeah, we don't really like that. Okay. So let me jump back down to my notes, see what else I have here for you. All right. So when you clean up without rebuilding, this is where we become fragile. We lose our resilience. And so again, that's where it's like fasting can, because we're reducing the input and we're not providing those healing nutrients, our detoxification pathways can struggle. So think about this. Detox is not starvation, it's biochemistry. And again, unless you're doing these short bursts of fasts, which you can already see or hear, that if people want to do them, it's fine. It's not my first suggestion for people. And the reason is because it teaches you nothing. It doesn't offer you the ability of how to choose healthy foods. Many people don't understand what to do during a 24, 3-day, 7-day fast. People don't know how to come out of it. They don't know how to reemerge back into, we'll call it the real world. Well, how do I eat to maintain these benefits? And think about it this way, is that those are snapshots in time, in the sense that, and same thing with the 10-day detox with the doc, is it's not the be all end all, you guys. You got to do some work after the fact. And we talk about that in the program. What happens after 10 days? What do you need to be doing? This is just a kickstart, just to help teach you, like, what does your body need during that time? How clean can you get your food intake and still feel really good? How much energy do you experience when you really start to dial in your clean eating? It's amazing. It's amazing the energy that comes from that. So true detoxification requires, we need amino acids, we need the sulfur compounds, magnesium, B vitamins, glutathione support. Glutathione is I call it the mother of all antioxidants. It's the furthest upstream, and it helps all the other antioxidants to form as well as to do their job. And antioxidants are those things that, again, it's cleaning up the waste products that cause damage. So, and then we also need fiber, and we need help with bile flow. Fiber actually, like, think of it as like scraping the colon. It gets rid of all the things. It's like scraping the walls. It gets things out of the little nooks and crannies. And so fiber is a really key element to detoxifying. And so this is often why extreme restriction will backfire on people and will just feel terrible. So I don't like detoxing by removing everything. But I want to be supporting your pathways that already exist. And so we do that through very specific nutrient-based detox. And that's where, when we use Ultra Clear Renew, that's what we use in the program. And it supports phase 1 and phase 2 of liver. And I talked about how it increases phase 2 of liver pathways because it has those cofactors in it that actually do that. It provides protein and amino acids for conjugation. It supplies the minerals for buffering and elimination. It includes fiber to prevent toxin reabsorption, and it allows autophagy and rebuilding to happen together. So you can see we can have all of that going on. Like, we can have this synergistic. I think people don't think that autophagy occurs when you're eating. Like, it occurs sort of in only a fasted state, and that's not correct. Your body's constantly, you just increase the autophagy a little bit when you go into a fasting state. So, what I'm doing is really just respecting your metabolism, digestion, and your detox physiology, and completely giving up food and going through a fast it's just not for everybody. And so what can we do to help more people clean up their bodies, clean up their health, eliminate chronic stress, repair from chronic disease? How can we do that in a more sound, more sustainable way? And that's doing it like I'm suggesting we do it. So final takeaway, whether it's alkaline water, juice cleanses, fasting, or weight loss shortcuts, the pattern is the same. We try to override biology instead of supporting it. We don't get good outcomes from that. So a real detox is not necessarily about doing less, but it's about giving the body what it needs to do the proper work and clean everything up. So, okay, so let me get back to my show notes or my comments here. So that's the end of my notes for you. So again, if you're interested at all in Detox with the Doc, the link is down in the show notes. And let's see, we saw NAC, studies indicate human growth hormone. I was having withdrawal. Howie says autophagy is awesome to get out unwanted dead and fiber maybe. And then he says organic food is best. If milk has a 30-day best before date, that is not milk. Whole food and no plastics. Clean water. Cheese from Europe. Pasta from Italy is the best. And sardines. I love it. That's so great. That's a good detox right there. Well, and Howie will make you jealous. You got to go over and follow him on Food Forest Permaculture. He'll go out and he'll catch his salmon, and then he'll be cooking it right there, and he'll be camping, and like, oh my gosh, it just looks amazing. He's just eating completely from the earth. And so he's got some great content over there. So go follow him. Also, he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to growing food and just the nutrients and how everything works synergistically. I'm just always fascinated by his level of knowledge. So make sure you're giving him a follow. And Lily, I did not find out if they ship internationally. I apologize for that. So I will check into that tomorrow when they open up. So I will keep you posted. I appreciate that, Howie. Appreciate you. So yes. Okay. So that's it. So we've got, gosh, we've been talking detox now for since the beginning of the year. But I really think it's important that we look at all the different ways that we need to be making sure we're maintaining our health. And also because these toxins come from everywhere, you got to pay attention to your health. You got to pay even more attention to the signs, poor sleep, brain fog, achy joints. It's interesting. Like when you start paying attention to that stuff, you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, I get it. Charlie Rose. Oh, you're in Michigan also. First time here. Awesome. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. P Square, just in time to say goodbye. I do want to leave you with one story before I log off. So you could listen to one last story, P Squared. Fall Dog, happy Sunday. Any coffee left? No, I have no coffee. I'm missing the joke. I'm missing it. Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm the person, I can't drink coffee past noon. I won't sleep. So, yeah, I won't sleep. My dad was like, oh, I can have a cup of coffee right before bed and boop, I'm out. Like, not me. This girl is like, yep. And there's so many days, oh my gosh, 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, man, I just want a shot of espresso, but I know I'll pay for it. Okay. So I'm going to leave you guys with this story. It's 6:58. And so I'm just going to take a couple more minutes on this Sunday to tell you about something I experienced yesterday. So I have a friend of mine. I saw him and his girlfriend, I think. She had struggled with cancer a few years ago, and I looked at her. I walked in, and it was a birthday party, and I walked in, and I was like, oh my gosh, she looks like she's got cancer. Looks like the cancer came back. Just emaciated. And I was very sad. I was like, oh God, I don't want to know that she's, struggling again. So I was talking to, I'll just say her husband. I don't know what they are. And he lost a bunch of weight as well. Well, it turns out they're both taking the weight loss shot. And I was like, oh, and he actually looked good. He lost like 70 pounds and he looked healthy. Like his color and his skin, like he looked better where she didn't. Apparently she went on the shot too. So then she said, oh, I'm going to go outside for a second. And she went outside to smoke. And then I said to him, I asked him, I said, is she feeling okay? Because I didn't know at this time what was happening. And he goes, yeah, she can't keep weight on. She just keeps losing and losing. She can't keep weight on. And she's lost, she's lost muscle mass. Like you can see it. And I said, well, and you guys are like, you're both still smoking? He goes, well, yeah. And so this whole, like, you know, and this is not to judge them, but it's really just to bring light to this whole wave of I have to lose weight and I need a shot to do it, but I'm not going to quit smoking. She struggled with weight before. She already had, stomach surgery. I forget which one, for weight loss. Didn't work. She gained a bunch of weight back. That now's gone on the shot. So from a nutritional perspective, I know for 100% fact, metabolically, she is her nutrition's in the shitter. You know, just her metabolic state. You can see it. You can see it in her face, her skin, her eyes. It was like, I'm like, oh man, you know, I don't want any, you know, kind of like want to reach out to her and say something, but then I don't. So I don't know if he says anything to her at all, but you guys, this is where I say, I'm like, you can't outshot away your health. You can't cold plunge away poor habits. You can't out supplement a poor diet. I've got somebody else I know who's on the shot, refuses to go to the gym, literally laughs about not going to the gym, and just had liposuction taken out of her stomach and put in her ass because she had a flat ass. And I'm like, I don't understand. I feel like the world is losing their mind. So anyway, I say that to say, if you start to look and evaluate some of the things you're doing, and just make sure you're putting things in the right perspective. Make sure you're prioritizing you. Don't allow, and I know addiction is difficult, so I don't want to make quitting smoking seem like it should be super simple. But if you can start to think about it like this thing that literally is killing you has such a grip on you that you're willing to choose it over you having cancer, which could have been what caused it too. So anyway, I just felt the need to share that so that you can start asking yourself the right questions and get real with yourself. This is where I've said this before, stop lying to yourself. If you want better, you have to do better. And if you want things to change, then you have to change things. Things don't change unless you change things. So make that a priority for you this year so that you don't continue with the same health issues and the same habits that make you sick. Okay. So he's always offering those on chat free coffee. Got it. Okay. I would love a free coffee. I'll take it. Charlie Rose, we're only a couple hours away. Awesome. I love it. Where are you at? How far? Always nice to meet another Michigander. Fall Dog free coffee. Everybody's getting free coffee. Sometimes pizza. As long as it's sourdough, I'll take that. Tonight's special Italian sausage with meatballs and spaghetti dining car. That's great. Ken says, for good God, stay away from that weight loss shot. Yeah, for sure. It's a beast, man. Howie says, great live stream, Doc. Some folks can't help themselves. Cigs are very addictive. Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to make light of that. I know it's very addictive. And I think if we can start to maybe just start thinking about putting ourselves first, some of that's mindset, some of it's the chemical addiction though, you guys. We start on that stuff and those chemicals are designed, the chemicals in food, the chemicals in cigarettes, the chemicals in drugs and medications, they're designed to keep us addicted to those things. So just start to think about that. And even a good detox can help you start to break away from those addictions. So, and let's see, we have a Polynesian cheese. I don't know, what's Polynesian cheese? Instant gratification is often the problem with those who are looking for shortcuts. That is for sure. Yep. Oh yeah. No, you're actually only about an hour from me, actually. Probably 2 from my office, but we're practically neighbors, Charlie Rose. Thanks so much for being here. So listen, I said it earlier in the show, I am coming to you from Dr. Paula Ruffin, and it's all about the biology. So depending on which channel you're watching from, if you could please jump over to the other one and give that a subscribe. I know we both would be very happy to have the additional subscribe. Ghetto Hippie's what's Ghetto Hippie doing? Is Ghetto Hippie getting into trouble? Toss well educated into the equation too. Yes. Okay. Yeah. All right. So it is 7:05. I'm going to go spend a little time with my daughter before she heads back to school. But that's our detox for today. So just start asking yourself what you want better. If you want things to change, you got to change things. So yeah. And if you're having some addiction, there's some things that can help, but do your best. Try. It might not be perfect, but try again. That's the whole thing, is that resilience and having something better for yourself. It doesn't come from perfection. It comes from trying, doing. You stop, you start again, you reset, you keep going. And so that's the only way we're going to get better. None of us are perfect. So I just wish the best for all of you and hope to see you in Detox with the Doc. But otherwise, I'll see you Thursday for Chiropractic is Sexy. And I'll see you next Sunday for Sunday Night Live. All right. And next Sunday, we got Ken on. So I won't forget that again this week. So, all right. So next Sunday, me and Ken coming to you on biology. It's all about the biology and all the things that we need to be mindful of as we move into this detoxifying phase of our lives. So, all right. Great to see you too, P Squared. And thank you all so much for all your comments. I'm so grateful to have you here and appreciate it. All right. See you on the next one.